In this video, we're going to go ahead now and upload the spreadsheet that we've created to HootSuite and schedule the posts to go into both our Twitter account and also our Facebook account. So you click in the message window up in the upper left, and then you're going to see a little calendar icon that says Schedule Message when you hover over it. Click that. In this window that opens up, click on Schedule in Bulk. You're going to get this dialog box. That includes a nice little set of reminders of how to format your spreadsheet in case you're ever looking for that. Now what we're going to do is go out onto our desktop and find the file that we created and select it. Now when you click on the account to post from, you're going to see a long list of all of our accounts. The first one you want to do is Before It's News Twitter. Before It's News Twitter. There's others. Okay, we clicked submit and it found an error. One of our posts doesn't have a date in the date column, so we're going to need to go back and fix that. So I find the document and scan looking for, there it is, the last one doesn't have a date. So I'm going to copy the previous date and timestamp, paste it in, and then just change it to be 10 minutes after that one. Save it. As a CSV file. This probably looks a little bit different on my computer than it will on yours because I use Google Docs. Then go back to HootSuite and try to submit it again. There we go. Oh, it found two problems now in this spreadsheet. One of them is that you have to schedule messages for at least 10 minutes from the time that you are trying to schedule. So what happened was it took me too long. And now we need to change the time. So I'm going to delete the first two times from my first two posts, then take all the rest of the time date stamps and move them up. That'll make it faster than trying to go through and redo all the time date stamps. Then I just copy and paste the last two that are empty and make them in 5-minute intervals from each other and save. So just to make sure you understand what I did there, I deleted the first two posts and then I moved up all the time date stamps so that the first time date stamp on the first post is about 10 minutes from now. Then that left the bottom two time date stamps empty, and I could just redo those really quickly rather than having to redo all 15 or 20 time date stamps. So we clicked submit and we were lucky. Everything worked out. So now we're going to do that same process again and select the file again. This time from our account we're going to choose Before It's News Facebook page. And the way you know you have the right accounts is that all it says is Before It's News Twitter or Before It's News Facebook page. It doesn't say paranormal or Tea Party or conservative or financial, anything like that. Click submit and it successfully uploaded all of them all. Now in this dashboard on HootSuite, you should be able to get these columns showing that show you your pending tweets and your pending stream posts. Pending stream posts means for Facebook. You'll see the F there. What you're going to need to do for the, and you have to click the little refresh button to see them, you're going to need to go through all these Facebook posts and make a little modification, because when you use a spreadsheet to upload a story, to upload all your posts, it doesn't automatically go through and select a thumbnail image to display in your Facebook posts like most Facebook posts have. And of course we want a thumbnail image because that makes it much more attractive to people. So we're going to use the edit function in the HootSuite tool after you've uploaded the spreadsheet to go through and select the thumbnail for each post, and then to write our own little customized message. So you're going to actually undo the headline that was in the spreadsheet and type in something a little bit more friendly and personal and clever just for Facebook. And we'll get rid of the hashtags because hashtags aren't really for Facebook and they just kind of create clutter. So for this violent seismic activity tearing Africa in two, I'm going to type in, wow, is Africa really getting split in half? and click submit. And we'll do this again, so don't worry, we're going to do it a few times. So you go over and you find the next post in the pending list for Facebook and click the edit button. And the way you can kind of keep track of which ones you've done and you haven't done is that the little shortened blue highlighted URL will be there for the ones you haven't done yet. Now what you do is you go in and you click and hit the space bar anywhere in the message. And what that'll do is then it'll tell you it's looking for the preview and it'll bring it up. And you can use these little arrow buttons to scan through all the available images in the story and find one that would make what you think will make the best thumbnail. This story is Bill Gates pledges allegiance to the Illuminati, which is really a story about Bill Gates' vaccine program. So I scanned through and sure enough there was a picture of Bill Gates in that story. So I selected that as my thumbnail and I'm going to change the headline for Facebook to something kind of chatty. What do you think of Bill Gates' plan to vaccinate the world? And the reason I'm doing it as a question like this is because this is a controversial thing with our users. Some of them are very much against vaccines, some of them are for them. A lot of them think that Bill Gates is, you know, the devil. So when it's controversial like that, rather than take a stand, just ask everybody the question. That seems to make them pretty popular, actually. People like to answer the questions. So on our next one, again, we clicked edit. It brought up this dialog window with the headline. You click anywhere in the headline and hit the space bar and it'll start finding and we'll bring up the preview text and then this little finder for finding your thumbnail image. Now, when there's not really an appropriate thumbnail image that goes with the story, you'll see something like this a lot of times. That's actually the contributor's profile picture. So when there's not something good in the story to use, you know, you don't want to use these icons for RSS and Facebook, they're useless. I'll either use the contributor's profile image, especially if it's a more eye-catching one, like this guy that uses Superman, or we do have these little graphics that appear in the stories that say, I like the story, or I like this contributor. So sometimes I'll pick the I like this story button just for fun. So again, you can use a little bit of humor, as I talked about before, with writing these headlines for Facebook. Under this one, I named it From the Gross Department. And actually, I think I'll do it something a little more clever. A file under gross, because the title of this is Mysterious Green Goop Falls from Sky in New York City. File under gross. So you can kind of write these headlines for Facebook the way that you would write something that you sent to your friends or put out on your own Twitter. You don't want to be opinionated, you don't want to really enter your opinion in, but you can be clever. So we click edit, this comes up, we click anywhere in the headline and hit the space bar, and pretty soon the preview text and the images come up. Sometimes no preview text appears in that bigger window down there, and there's nothing to do about that. Don't worry about it. Just go through and find a good image to go with. Aussie claims continued close encounters with alien entities. That's a nice alien picture. I like that one. With alien stories, UFO stories, a lot of times I like to use today's dispatch from the X-Files or today's report from the X-Files. And you may remember the television show, The X-Files, which was all about aliens and conspiracies and so forth. And it's fun to have things like that, today's dispatch from the X-Files or report from the X-Files, and use it rather consistently for certain kinds of stories, because it makes our followers kind of feel like they're in on the joke when you do something the same on a regular basis like this. It makes them feel like they're in on the joke. So today's report from the X-Files, and I included a little quip that says includes video of the little critters. So you know you're being a little bit funny, but you don't want to be disrespectful of the aliens. You don't want to get too disrespectful, but you can be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Even alien and UFO believers have a pretty good sense of humor about that topic, but you don't want to write something like, oh, you know, more alien news for the Fruit Loops that believe in aliens or something like that. That wouldn't be nice. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here now and find one that'll help us look at an example of something else. I'm going to skip ahead, but you'd want to go through and do every single one of these, get a thumbnail for them. So we click edit, this comes up, click anywhere in the headline and hit the space bar. It'll say generating link preview for Facebook post, please wait, and then it brings it up. This is a story about troops in Afghanistan. Okay, this is a story about government corruption. The reason for troops in Afghanistan is the CIA's $500 billion a year opium business. So this story is suggesting that we have troops in Afghanistan in order to work with opium drug lords there, and they actually pay money to the CIA. So I like to title these kinds of things "From the Confirming What You Already Suspected Department." Stories that are about government and or corporate corruption, involvement in criminal activities, I like to, or just even unethical activities, I like to use that little quip, "From the Confirming What You Already Suspected Department." I've been using it for a while and people seem to like it, so that's a good one to use. Again, it's that sort of inside joke feeling. So with this one, there's no image, but the contributor has a very interesting image of the